In the last video, I've showed you how to test components. We have some asynchronous loading in them. In this video, we have a bug in our code, and the important thing about finding bugs is that you write a test so that bug would never appear again. I think I've read that in some book, but the journey of a pragmatic programmer, or something like this. I'm not sure how that book was called. So the point is, there is a bug and we should write a test and fix this bug. How do we do this, and what sort of bug it is? So what the bug actually is, we cannot see updates right away. So let's say what it is. Book name, some book, whatever, doesn't matter. Let's say submit, and only after the refresh it would appear. Well, apparently this is not good. The whole point of single page application that we see updates right away. So let's write the test for it. Where we would write that test? We actually have the test for add form test JSX, but this add form only tests that the book is actually added to the local storage and that data manager works properly. So it doesn't test the updates in the overall application. To do that, I'm going to make a test in our testing app component. Since we're not testing wait for element anymore, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to open describe block and say app main app. We have a callback in here. I would have clean up as usual. So after each, let's pass a cleanup, and let's have our test. So what should our test be? When adding a book, a view should be updated. We have a const component, so we should render that component. That would be app. After that, we would use a fire event. So we don't need this wait for element. We need fire event. What fire event should do? It should change an input. How do we find that input? We'll find it by label text, and our label reads add new book. We can see it in here that this has a label, add new book. Okay, in here, so we use our fire event. We use change component get by label text add new book. The second parameter would be options, and our options would be target and value. Now let's say value is book 1. After we've done that, we would press on our button. Our button actually doesn't have a label, so in real application we probably would have a label for that, or it would be advised, but in this case I have a test ID. So our test ID is submit, and that's it. We don't have any options in here, although you might. What would we expect? Let's open our browser and see what we have. So each of these list items have a data test ID of book 0, book 1, book 2, so they go by index. So in our test case, we start with clean slate, so our book would be, the first added book would be book 0, and that's what we're going to test. We're expecting component get by test ID book 0. Okay, it has a dash in it. Text content to be book 1. This is our test. That should fail because we don't have actual code for it. So yeah, it did fail. Unable to find an element book 0 because our view did not update just yet. How do we do this? In here, in component mount, we can make set books, and we would pass it in here, and that would call set books, and we would pass this method as a prop to the add form. So update books, this set books, and our add form would call this. Okay, this update, or we can pull this one out from the props, update books. The point is that our old add form would fail because we don't have that prop in here. What we can do here is pass just a JustMock, JustFN, and that should not give us any grief. Okay. All of our tests pass now. So we found a bug, we wrote a test for it, that we click on the, that we fire event a change, we change the value to book 1, and we click on the submit, we've seen this test fail, and then we see that there is actually indeed an element in our DOM with the test ID of book 0 that has a text content with the name of our book. And we can also test this in our real application, so let's refresh to see the new code. Book 3, submit, it works. So this is actually the way that probably there will be bugs. Test in your development workflow doesn't mean that there won't be any bugs. But when you find a bug, write a test for it, so this bug would not appear again.